Hello friends, a warm welcome to the second session on the topic oral presentation. This is a part of Unit 5 of the paper Business Communication, BBA third semester. I am Rachna Mishra, Assistant Professor Commerce at Government Naveen Mahavidyalaya, Kharora. In my first lecture on this topic, we talked at length about what an oral presentation is all about. Now, proceeding further, let us discuss the factors affecting oral presentation. These factors play an important role in making a presentation effective. Now, the first factor is body language. It is a very significant factor in making a presentation impactful. Usually, it has been observed that orator's body language creates an impression over audience's mind and they form certain perception or opinion about the presentation. It actually decides the level of acceptance for the presenter. When we talk about body language, the first impression is created by the external appearance. It implies the presenter should dress up according to the occasion or environment. For example, the kind of attire which is suitable for an entertainment platform may not be suitable for presenting in a board meeting, or we can say certainly it is not suitable for an occasion like addressing a board meeting. Along with right attire, posture is equally important. Posture is how you stand in front of the audience. Audience watch it very carefully, very closely, and an initial impression is created by how you stand there in front of the audience. The third factor under discussion is walking. In oral presentation, if the presenter walks confidently, it has certainly a positive impression over the audience and vice versa. It is true that the presenter should not stand at one place, rather he should walk or make some movement. But at the same time, too much walking disturbs the attention of the audience. So a very careful balance is to be maintained. Neither you should stand at one place all the time, nor you should walk too much. Now coming to the next part, that is facial expression. Your facial expression should always match with the topic or content of the presentation. Otherwise, it may communicate what we don't want to. Eye contact is very important. It is a part of facial expression you may. By eye contact, audience make out about the gravity of the content of the presentation. So usually it is advised that at any presentation, you should always maintain eye contact with the audience. Next is gestures like body language. The gestures made by the presenter plays a significant part in the interpersonal communication. Every movement of eye, hand, head is closely observed by the audience. Gestures add a natural flair to the presentation. So you have to be careful while making gestures at the presentation. The second factor which affects a presentation is voice. Voice output comprises of 4 elements: volume, tone, pitch and speed. Now coming to the first one, that is volume. To keep audience attention intact, volume is maintained according to the room or hall or a place where the presentation is made. For example, in a large room with a large number of people, the volume will be higher as compared to a small room with a less number of people. Now the second one is tone. What tone is? It is the way you speak. Same set of words do not communicate the same message if the style or way is different. It is modulation of speech which makes the difference. For example, do you know each other is a very casual question you ask. Whereas, do you know each other? It shows a more concern or apprehension. Next one is the pitch. Pitch is the quality of sound. Highness or lowness of tone is called the pitch. Neither it should be very high nor it should be very low. The last one is speed. A gradual increase or decrease in the speed makes the presentation interesting. One should ensure that whatever speed you speak at, the clarity should not be lost. Clarity is to be maintained. The pronunciation should be very much clear and it should be audible and understandable to the audience. Coming to the third factor, audience analysis. The presenter should analyze its audience before presentation and after presentation. Before presentation analysis is part of the preparation which a presenter makes. After presentation analysis, it enables the presenter to assess the effectivity or outcome of the presentation. If he wants to assess to what extent the presenter is successful in delivering the content. The next factor is communication environment. The environment around the speaker which is visible to the audience is communication environment. For example, light arrangement, stage, background, etc. are the points under consideration. Now, use of words. Choice of words is the soul of a presentation. The main idea or the message should be communicated in very easy, lucid, understandable language. The presenter should have the art of delivering the content in less number of words and in a very simple language. Use of very complicated ornamental words makes it a complex presentation. Next one is answering the questions. Question hour or the time given to audience to raise question is very crucial. The presenter should listen to the question very carefully and answer them accordingly. And in case if he does not know the answer, he should be very humble in accepting it and try not to give any answer which comes into his mind at that time. He should accept it. So the answering question part, it should be very realistic. As we have covered the theoretical aspect, let us take a quick look into the structure of an oral presentation. The structure must be divided into three parts. First is introduction part, the second part is the body or the middle part, and the third one is the last one, that is the end or the conclusion part. Now, starting with the beginning or the introduction part. These are some practical aspects like get the audience attention and signal the beginning. It is very much essential. Like you should use the set of words like shall we start? Let's begin. Can we start? Let's get the ball rolling. So any one set of words you can use to signal the beginning. It actually grabs the audience attention and you invite them to the presentation. The second important factor is greet audience. Hello ladies and gentlemen, good morning members of the jury. Any such set of words must be used to greet the audience. Continuing with the beginning or the introduction, you need to introduce yourself. You have to tell your name to the audience, the position you are holding, and the company you are representing. And you can do it by using some words like, let me introduce myself. I would like to start by introducing myself. My name is. Depending upon the audience and the environment, you can choose any set of words. I'm a student at so and so business school. I'm a researcher from. So it depends totally upon the presenter and his background. After introducing yourself, you should give title and introduce the subject to the audience. That is telling them what exactly you are dealing there. It can be done by use of words. I plan to speak about. Today I am going to talk about. The subject of my presentation is. Any set of words can be used, but it should be communicated before starting the presentation. That is a must in a presentation. Now, the beginning or the introduction part ends with making the audience aware about the purpose or the aim or the goal of the presentation. Like you want to illustrate something, I want to present something, I want to summarize something. So the choice of words depends upon the objective. Like what I would like to do is to explain. What I would like to do is to illustrate or to give you the essential background information, to outline, to present. So such set of words can be used to communicate the purpose or aims or goals of the presentation. After introduction, the focus shifts to the content part known as the middle or the body of the presentation. It is the most important part and it can be dealt with under following points. First one is content. Content means what information you wish to provide. Then quantity, how much information should you give? Third one is sequencing the content. There are many ways of organizing content like logical organization, chronological order. So when we talk about some historical events, they can be arranged chronologically based on the period of the event. Then cause and effect. Usually it is in scientific presentation, cause and effect will be there. Problem solution, from general to specific or from known to unknown. Known to unknown means the flow of the content should be from the content you know already and what you are supposed to know, that is known to unknown. Continuing with the middle or the body of the presentation, the next point is keeping the audience's attention. That means the presenter should always try to keep the audience's attention intact. Next one is signposting or signaling where you are. You need to guide the listener or constantly inform him or her where you are. It is a kind of providing the direction to the presentation. For example, you can say like, now that I have introduced the problem, I would like to turn to some of the financial consequences of doing nothing. So such kind of signposting is essential. It makes the audience vigilant, aware of the things you are going to deliver. The next aspect in the middle or the body of the presentation is linking ideas, sections and making transitions. This is very important while you shift from one idea to another, from one section to another, one point to another, one slide to another slide. The transition should be smooth. It means the connectivity from the second slide to the prior slide should be maintained in the same manner. The connectivity from one section to another, one slide to another, one point to another should be very smooth and very clear to the audience. Next one is outlining options. So wherever options are available, suppose you are suggesting the audience with a particular course of action, you may suggest the options also, some alternatives also. You can do like this or you can do like that also. Next one is reformulation, summaries, etc. So reformulation may be in many cases, like if you want to give an example, you can say, now let's take an example, or you can use the words to illustrate this. For instance, so any set of words can be used. To rephrase, this is very important aspect, because when the speaker understands that the audience is not getting what he is supposed to communicate, he can rephrase it. You can say the same things in some other words. So you can use the words like, let me rephrase that in other words, like that. Next is to summarize. The words used to summarize is to summarize, to sum up, briefly said, or in short. Such set of words can be used. Next is to emphasize. What is important to remember? To emphasize means these words can be used when something important is to be communicated and we want the audience to remember it. What is important to remember? Or I would like to emphasize the fact that, I would like to stress the importance of. Such set of words can be used. The third part of the presentation, or the end or conclusion part. The content can be concluded by signposting. To signpost the end of your talk, you may say, I would like to summarize, I would like to sum up, or you can say, at this stage, I would like to run through the main points. So as we have seen today, these are the set of words which are usually used to end the content. Now comes the question hour, dealing with difficult questions. You should provide time to the audience to ask or raise questions on the presentation, and the presenter should be honest enough in delivering the answers. And at the end, you should never forget to thank the audience. And it can be done by using words, thank you very much for your time and attention. So any such set of words can be used to conclude the presentation. So thank you and have a nice day.